Have you ever felt a heaviness in your heart that you couldn't quite explain? You still pray, still go to church, and still try to live a life that pleases God. But deep inside, it feels like something is stealing your peace. You feel tired, anxious, and no longer experience the same joy you once had. Many people assume the cause is their circumstances or the pressures around them. But sometimes, what truly drains us are the things we continue to hold on to, even though God has wanted us to let them go for a long time. It may be fear, old wounds, disappointment, or sinful habits that are quietly keeping us from drawing closer to Him. Jesus said in Gospel of Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." God does not want His children to live under burdens they were never meant to carry. In today's video, we're going to explore 5 things God may be asking you to let go of right now. And there's a good chance that one of them is the very thing quietly standing in the way of your peace and your relationship with Him. Let go of the need for everyone's approval. The first thing God may be asking you to let go of today is the need for everyone's approval. We all want to be loved and accepted, but the problem begins when other people's opinions become more important than God's voice. Some people know they need to make changes in their lives, but they hesitate because they are afraid of being judged. Others remain in unhealthy relationships because they fear being alone. Some are afraid to openly express their faith because they worry about being mocked or rejected. Little by little, they begin living to please people rather than to please God. In Galatians 1:10, Paul writes, "If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." It is a powerful reminder that we cannot chase human approval while fully following God's leading at the same time. The harder we try to please everyone, the more peace we lose. There will always be people who disagree with you, misunderstand you, or criticize you. But when you realize that your worth comes from God rather than from the opinions of others, you become free to live according to the calling He has placed on your life. Let go of the old wounds you're still carrying. The second thing God may be asking you to let go of is the hurt you have carried for far too long. Some wounds happened years ago, yet they still affect your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual life today. Perhaps you were betrayed, rejected, or hurt by the very people you loved the most. Those memories are not easy to erase, but the problem is that many people do not simply remember the pain, they continue to live in it every day. Whenever they think about the past, the bitterness and disappointment come rushing back. The person who hurt them may have moved on long ago, but the wound still controls their life. Ephesians 4:31-32 teaches us to get rid of all bitterness and to forgive one another, just as God has forgiven us. Forgiveness does not mean that what someone did was right. Forgiveness is the decision not to allow that pain to continue ruling your life. Perhaps today God is asking you, how much longer do you want to carry this burden? Because healing often begins when we are willing to place our wounds into His hands. Let go of the life you thought you would have. This may be one of the hardest things to let go of. Sometimes, what causes us the deepest pain is not our current circumstances, but the gap between reality and the life we once imagined for ourselves. Perhaps you thought that by now you would be married, have achieved a certain goal, or have already received answers to prayers you have been praying for years. But instead, life has taken a completely different direction. Deep inside, you carry a disappointment that is difficult to put into words. Many people are not only hurting because of what happened, they are hurting because of what never happened. They are still holding tightly to a version of life they believe they were supposed to have. But Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and not lean on our own understanding. Just because we do not understand His plan does not mean He has forgotten us. Perhaps today God is asking you to surrender not only your current struggles, but also your unfulfilled expectations. Because when you stop clinging to the life you wanted, you become able to embrace the life God is preparing for you. Let go of the hidden sin you keep justifying. Not every burden in life comes from circumstances or other people. Sometimes, the very thing stealing our peace is something we know does not please God, yet we continue to hold on to it. It may be lust, dishonesty, impure habits, or anything else the Holy Spirit has repeatedly prompted you to leave behind. On the outside, everything may appear normal, but deep inside, you know a battle is still taking place. The danger of sin is not only that it makes us feel guilty. The greater danger is that it gradually hardens our hearts. The more we justify it, the less sensitive we become to God's voice. That is why many people continue to pray and read the Bible, yet still feel spiritually dry and distant from Him. Hebrews 12:1 calls us to throw off every weight and the sin that so easily entangles us. God does not ask us to let go of sin because He wants to take away our joy. He asks us to let go because He knows it is quietly destroying us from the inside out. Perhaps today is not the day to keep making excuses. Perhaps today is the day to be honest with God and let go of the very thing He has been asking you to surrender. Let go of the fear that God will not keep His promises. The final thing God may be asking you to let go of today is the fear that He will not do what He has promised. This is a hidden burden that many Christians carry in their hearts, but rarely admit. We believe God is powerful. We believe He can perform miracles. But what many people struggle with is whether God will act in their specific situation. Perhaps you have been praying for a marriage, a job, healing, or the salvation of a loved one. At first, you were full of faith, but after waiting for a long time, disappointment began to creep in. You still pray. You still go to church. But deep inside, there is a question you hardly dare to say out loud. Lord, do you really remember me? That is where faith is tested, not when everything is going well, but when you have not yet seen the answer. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you." God never promised that we would always understand His plan, but He did promise that He would never leave us or forsake us. If there is something you are still waiting for, do not rush to conclude that God has forgotten you. Your story may not be over yet. Today, choose to trust in God's faithfulness more than what your eyes can currently see. Maybe today God has already shown you something specific that you need to let go of. It could be a fear, an old wound, a hidden sin, or a disappointment you have been carrying for far too long. What matters most is not that you recognize it. What matters is whether you are willing to surrender it to God. Many people ask God to change their lives, but continue holding tightly to the very things that are pulling them backward. True freedom begins when we stop clinging to what is destroying us and start trusting what God is doing. So today, make that decision. Don't just listen and move on. If you choose to let go and trust God more, write, "I let go and trust God," in the comments as a declaration of faith, and pray this: Lord, help me to let go of what you no longer want me to carry.